going on? Rob here, Transplant 323. I'm gonna shoot a quick video for my friend Mo here, but I'm gonna put it up so other people can find out. He just got his boat in, he got a used boat, and he was asking me things he should look for. I went to go look for the boat for him. So let me get this boat uncovered right now, and then we'll go from there. I got the canvas on this boat right here because it's outside during the winter time here in Chicago, but I'm gonna need to replace it. So let me get this uncovered and we'll go over some stuff that you should be looking for. Alright, I got the boat uncovered now, but one thing you should do if you're buying a used boat, before you move the boat, go ahead and check your brake lights. Make sure your brake lights and signal lights work. On this one right here, we actually moved it without the brake lights and signal lights working, and then I had to purchase new ones. I purchased them from Harbor Freight and rewired the whole thing myself. Another thing you should check before you move your boat is the lug nuts right here. And I'm saying check the lug nuts because even though this sat here the whole winter, it gets warm with the cold and the sun and the hot, and the metal moves. So I loosen them and then I tighten the lug nuts again, because when I moved this, it sat there for 10 years. The guy never moved it, and me, like a big dummy, did not check the lug nuts. So you know, them lug nuts actually wiggled out within 5 blocks of moving it. So luckily we, sliding up there 3 guys, so we lifted it up and switched lug nuts, to the side just to get it home. Then I had to order some more. So before you even move it, if you're buying a new one, check the lug nuts and make sure the lug nuts are tight. Break them and then retighten them and make sure you have enough air in it. You can see that right there. I'm gonna have to put more air in that. That sat there over the winter time. When you store it, sit it on blocks. Don't sit it on the grass, because grass will dry rot it. Another thing to look for when you're first getting it, is make sure you got your the right size ball. Let me get this down. The right size ball for your hitch. Okay, this one right here, I got a combination lock. These are resettable combinations. I love these resettable combinations. I have them all over the place so they all have the same combination. But this right here is, I lock it on the ball so it won't come off the ball. Not only that, I lock it right here so nobody can steal it. But with your toe chains, make sure you got your toe chains. And your toe chains are actually for if it pops off of the ball, which it shouldn't. These toe chains are supposed to be crossed with an X when you have them hooked up, because this X is supposed to stop the ball from hitting the ground. So your toe chains should be in an X, and you have to have enough room on your toe chains and your wiring harness so it can move back and forth. So I put this whole harness on myself, and there's enough room to move back and forth. Okay, another thing you're gonna look for is make sure your hitch is on there good. This right here rolls down, and when it rolls down, you pull this lever right here and it'll lock up, but that's after you have it mounted. Okay, before you move your boat, if you can see, mine's right here, I don't have it on. This right here is stationary. This locks onto here so the boat won't fall off or fall backwards. It goes on there and it just locks on, and the crank is locked down snug so you don't have to worry about this falling off back. But also there's locks on the back that are supposed to prevent it from falling off that way. So make sure before you move it, you make sure that you have one of these and it is in the closed position. I have this lock on it because this lock is actually chained to my fence right now, so that's why mine's is. But there's a lever right here, and this lever you move up and down on the crank. If you move that up and down, you'll be able to move it freely, but you want to lock so it don't move freely. Okay, so now when you get your boat, and you got your boat, of course, one of the first things you're going to have to do, and especially in Illinois, is make sure you got the title for the boat and the title for the trailer, because you can't get your numbers if you don't got your title. You have to go through a whole process of trying to get the title approved for you. And with your registration on the boat, you need the title for the trailer also, and it has to have the trailer numbers legible on it. What a lot of guys do is once they get their title, they actually stamp the numbers themselves right on there. They stamp the numbers just in case anything ever happens. They always know their title and their registration number for their trailer. So after you take it, like in Chicago, you got to take it, you got to mail that off to get your registration numbers right there. for your boat. And then on top of that, you got to get your transfer of title and the plate for your license plate. Okay, but when I bought my trailer, my back lights weren't working, so I had to go ahead and I bought those for like $8 each from Harbor Freight, and I have a video up there on how to go ahead and check that out. All right, now you got your boat, and you know, people are wondering how much people can I fit on my boat? Can I take my boat on the water? You know, what body of water? Well, there will be a plate in your boat somewhere, and you got to look for the plate. And on here's the plate right here on my boat, and the plate right here says 6 people or 680 pounds. 6 people or 680 pounds. This is a 16-foot, I believe, a 16-foot boat. So some boats have these plates stamped on the back right here, on the other side in the corner. They could be stamped anywhere, but that tells you safely what you could put on your boat. All right. Another thing, we'll start it for what the boats should have in them, or what I believe they should have in them. And I'm in Illinois, so this is kind of going what Illinois should have in it. Okay, over there, you need either an air horn or a whistle. An air horn or a whistle, which is on that side right there. That's the air horn. You need a fire extinguisher if you have a gas boat. So if you have a gas boat, you do need a fire extinguisher, and it has to be up to date. There's dates and there's pressure things on those fire extinguishers, so make sure it's up to date and up to code. And for Lake Michigan, you do need flares, and your flares have to be up to code. And those flares are, I think they're kind of BS, because they're so damn expensive for those flares. And it's like some of the flares are $60 for the flares, for like 3 flares, and they burn for 60 seconds. I'm like, come on, you can't get a flare that burns longer than 60 seconds, but you do need flares, a horn or a whistle, and a fire extinguisher if you got a gas boat and you're going on Lake Michigan. Okay, another thing that you need is a battery box. Okay, a plastic battery box. This one's not tied down right now, but I do have a tie for it. But it's not tied down right now because I don't even got the battery in it right now. It's just the winter time right here still, or springtime. It's supposed sprinter, right? So I don't have the battery put in it yet. What I put in myself also was a bilge pump. I put the bilge pump in all the way at the bottom. You can mount them. Actually, that's one of the self-starting bilge pumps. C-Sense, 800 gallons per hour. I mean, that shoots the water out. But what I put on the top of my box, my battery box, was a toggle switch to turn the bilge pump on manually, because I wasn't comfortable with how much water the automatic bilge pump switch had on it. So I put a manual one to go ahead and turn it on and off myself. Now the wires I have right here are for my bilge pump. I have an automatic start on my motor, and for my depth finder. Those are the wires for the back right here. Okay. Another thing that you should have, one thing that I don't have in here that I'm gonna put in here, is the little, they're not like buoys, but they're, so when you pull your boat against the dock, you see how this is bent and there's a line mark right here, mark right here. That's from hitting the dock without the plastic float on the side. So I do have a plastic float. I normally don't carry it with me, but looking at the dings and the dents right here and the bend right here, I'm going to start carrying that with me also, because you throw them on the side of the boat. You should have 2 of them, one for the back and one for the front, and it goes on the side of the boat that you're pulling up against the dock. So I have one in the basement, so I'm going to go get that. All right. Another thing you should have in Illinois, one Chicago, is your anchor. Now this anchor line is maybe only about 30 feet, but I do have a 100-foot anchor line in the basement, but I haven't gone on Lake Michigan yet. But you need a 100-foot anchor line for Lake Michigan. And this right here, I normally just go on Wolf Lake is where I go, and the depth there is 15 feet. So you do need your anchor and your anchor line. And then these right here are my dock lines to tie off. I have them in the front and in the back are my dock lines to tie off to the dock. And let's see what else. Oh, another thing you look for is, let me move my motor right here. I got a motor lock on here because I leave my motor. These motor locks, really, they're easy to break off. It's just meant to be kind of a nuisance if somebody's trying to steal your boat. Okay, this right here is the strap on the back I was telling you about. The boat is not only locked in from the front on the trailer, but you need a strap on the back so the boat don't just roll off the back of the trailer. When I drive down the road, that's how I do have it. I have the strap all the way across the back right there. There's another seat that'll stop if it starts to slide, but it shouldn't. The motor is attached through the transom right there, and then there's my trolley motor that I leave down as I'm driving. So that's how I have it. And this right here is a dock line right here, and this is another dock line. When I launch the boat, these dock lines get tied up and they get put in the corner, and in the corner right there. All right, you keeping up with me here? All right, one thing I bought right here, another thing I bought is a gas tank, plastic gas tank. There's a breather in here that opens and closes. Okay, now when you buy the gas tank, the brass fitting for the line does not come with it. The brass fitting is sold separately, and there's different brass fittings for the different type of motor you have. This is a Johnson motor, a Johnson outboard, so this is a Johnson fitting and a Johnson line. If you can see right here is on the motor, it has the exact same fitting as this right here. So this line is just for a Johnson. It's 50-to-1. I had my son write it to the side, 50-to-1. Basically what I need is a quart of oil for this 6-gallon tank right here. Okay, now this tank right here I bought at one of the big box stores for, believe it or not, I got 2 6-gallon tanks, and I bought them both on clearance. One I got for 40 bucks and the other one I got for 25 bucks on clearance. So I got 2 of them. Do I need 2 of them? No, but it was on clearance, so I picked it up in case I ever want to go far. But one thing that I read a lot about also is I have the oil in here, I have stable in here, and I have premium gasoline in my thing right here, and it's completely filled to the top. It's completely filled to the top to store over winter time, because I was told that if you don't have it filled to the top, it leaves more room to be gummed, and you don't want it gummed in there. So when you store it over the winter time, put the stable in, high octane gas, and that's how you can leave the gas over there. Believe it or not, I put high octane gas in all my small engines because I believe they're smaller carburetors, so you don't want the cheaper gas to be gummed up in there. So all right, I went into that. Now this is the fitting. Like I said, there's Teflon tape in there. These come separate with whatever kind of motor you have. And then this is the gas line with the bulb. This is the primer right here to prime your motor. It's not in right now. When you bring your boat back to the dock, the best thing to do is unplug the gas line from the motor and just let the motor run to run itself completely out of gas. This way you know there's no gas sitting in that carburetor, because the more gas you leave in the carburetor, the more chance you got to get in it gummed up. Okay, one thing how I store my boat also is I call it the butt plug, the button hole. These right here, you could buy these, are super cheap, and it goes in the you gotta clean that out where the water leaves. But all it does is it goes all the way in the bottom on the inside of the boat, not the outside of the boat, on the inside of the boat. It goes all the way in the hole, and then you flip it up. When you got it in the hole and then you flip it up, it creates pressure so it don't leak. But you don't want to store your boat like that, because with rain and everything, if you're on the outside, your boat will fill up with water. So that's why I do not store it. And don't put it right here, because if you hit a stick or something, it's gonna pop it out your boat, and then you're gonna start to sink. So store it. Ooh, there goes sun. All right, store your boat with it out. But before I move to go anywhere, I go ahead and I make sure, that's one of my checks. I do a whole check before I pull the trailer, before I move it out. That's one of the checks that I do. Okay, I said about the battery box already. I said about, that's my bilge pump. I bought that on clearance also. You see there's still a little bit of water sitting on this side. I'm gonna leave the boat uncovered. There was water on the tarp. I have it jacked up with 2 bricks on this side, 1 brick on the other side. So it is draining right now, but it's just not draining as fast. You can see it's still draining some. Okay, well that's pretty much for the boat right now. That all I got to say. I feel like Forrest Gump. All I got to say about that is, like I said, you're supposed to have your battery in a plastic box strapped down. One thing I am going to buy is the LED meter for the top of that box that you come out and you push the button. It says how much you have left in there and all that. I am going to buy that. And I'm going to get some updated flares. So other than that, that's my boat. I do have a video of the Johnson 25 horsepower on how to use that and how to work it. So that video is up also. Anyways, that's everything that I know right now about a boat. And the more I find out, the more I'll share with you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share. Thank you. Bye-bye. Alright, I try to be as thorough as I can. And when I was downloading the video, I forgot. Now these right here on your hubs, you could pry this off right here. And there's your grease fitting right there. Now this right here is your zerk for your grease fitting. Now if you see there was darker grease in there and that's lighter grease, I actually put marine grade grease in there. They sell different bearings. You don't need a machine, you don't need them pressed. I actually have the fittings to redo the bearings, but so far these bearings aren't making any squeaking noise or anything like that. So I did buy new bearings for it. But when you take this off, if you don't have these, buy these for the cover. Don't just drive around like that, because you're gonna get your grease all dirty in there. But now this right here, if I put the grease fitting on that and pump it up this right here will come out this way some. And then you just fill it up with grease, and then you put your fitting back on there. Okay, so that's the grease fitting. I forgot about telling you about that, and there's one more thing I wanted to tell you about, but it slipped my mind right now. So as soon as it comes back to my mind, I'll go ahead and I will let you know. Here's what slipped my mind right here. One of these things, you can buy these at any of the stores, Walmart or whatever, and see the hose fitting. You never ever want to start your boat motor if it's not in the water. These things right here are cooled with the water. These are little intakes right here, and there's an impeller in here that when it's run on and running, it sucks the water up right here, goes through the motor, and then shoots it out back here somewhere. I can't even tell right now. Right here, shoots it out the back right here. So if you start your boat motor and there's no water shooting out of it right there, you have a problem, and shut it off till you figure out that problem. But this right here, what these are made for is if you want to go ahead and start your boat motor, what you do is you put these on here all the way. It's tight right now, I got one hand, but you put it on where that right there covers up the intake, and then you put your hose in there and turn your hose on, and then that's how you could go ahead and start and run your motor. And as long as you got water coming out right here, your motor is being air cooled. That's what I wanted to tell you. Don't turn that motor on unless you know you got some water flowing through that motor, otherwise you're going to burn it out.